I
never
love
seen
it.
me this hype.
What, dude? When I get passionate about education, that's when I get this hype.
No, I mean, you
And
cheesing, you smiling,
I
teeth are
am.
showing, your gums are showing, everything.
I'm sorry, Ricky B.
No, don't be sorry. That's what you need to come up in here, I guess. You know, and do what you do. So yeah, that's good. I'm glad you're getting out of here too.
You are? Oh,
Yeah.
you're happy I'm leaving?
Not like that. But you finally get a chance to get out of Boston and refresh and hit the refresh
Yes,
button on the computer.
yes,
Boop, come back.
yes. Very much needed.
Yeah. I'm
Okay.
gonna take a trip soon too.
You know what? We have to. We
Yeah.
got to get out of here
I'm taking
sometimes.
a couple.
Amen.
Not just a.
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Do it tonight. Baby, we can do it. Take your time. Do it right. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm back.
Take your time.
Okay, I'm over it. I'm over it. Before YouTube says we are not playing this video. So let me just jump straight into the news. As far as weather is concerned, they lied. We'll see how it happens. Today we're supposed to get snow. They're saying, nah, that's tomorrow. So y'all can figure out the weather on your own when you go outside, apparently. As far as traffic is concerned, if you're coming anywhere from the Weymouth, Quincy area, they're down to 27 miles an hour. The Braintree Quincy split is down to 27 miles an hour, and that is all the way to Columbia Road. So from the split to Columbia Road, they're down to they're all the way down. As far as MA East is concerned, Longwood Avenue is down to 8 miles an hour. Our wife is actually pretty good at 20 because they're usually at 9 at this time. And we have 16 West Walnut Street, Common Street, 5th Avenue. They're down to 12 miles an hour. Again, that is 16 East. And get to where you need to be. Don't text and drive. And I love you so much. I feel really good. I can't wait to get to Atlanta. In other news, Chicago announces a new police training program for dealing with mentally ill and more. The entire police department, which consists of 12,000 officers, will receive training centered on mental health awareness. Pause, freaking pause. Chicago does not need, okay, yes, every police department needs to receive training on mental health awareness. Don't sit here and act like the only thing that the Chicago police needs to consist or be centered around mental health awareness. What they need to do is they need to get, the children's strategies for kids.
What, that program?
Yeah, strategies for youth. They need to get strategies for youth in there because half of the people in Chicago are the youth. They needed strategies for youth to come in and talk to these officers about how to deal with children, first and foremost. Before we start talking about mental health awareness, you need to first know how to deal with children. Mm-hmm. So they're saying that this training is going to be centered on mental health. It needs to be centered on the fact that the mayor needs to be taken out of his seat. Yeah. Like literally somebody needs to kick his ass out of his seat. He doesn't need to be there anymore. I don't know how he's still there.
Just like Snyder.
But yeah, they want to. How many petitions are to impeach Obama? Impeach Obama.
And you ready to get to Atlanta now?
How many? Please tell me. I've seen so many cross my email. Both the cops and emergency workers are going to be trained on how to handle those that are mentally impaired. How about those that are suffering from trauma? How about those that are just strictly children that have absolutely no guidance in life? To me, it's such a bigger problem. It's such a bigger problem than saying, hey, listen, 12,000 officers, we're going to give you mental health training, which is probably the most financially impairing. Like, it's crippling how much mental health training costs more than any other training. Strategies for youth. Maybe I'll call Mr. Emmanuel and see if he can get strategies for youth in there to discuss how important it is for these officers to know how to deal with these children. Because they're children.
Yeah, but they don't know. That's why they're doing stuff backwards. They don't know how to deal with that. They don't know what to be on the start. That was do stuff backwards.
It's ridiculous. So an article came out, and I love this article because I'm not for Hillary Clinton. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are. But an article came out about how Hillary Clinton's real constituency has been, will always be, Wall Street and the military industrial complex. Pam. So this is a fairly long article. I'm going to go ahead and post this on the Wake Up with Tayla Andre page. If you're on Twitter, it's already posted there. We're in that phase right now where it's either Hillary or Bernie. Which one? I don't care if you like her. She's a woman. She needs to, no. She's a woman who does not support. She supports genetically modified foods. So all of these foods that are giving you all types of cancers, all of these foods that are giving you all types of health problems outside of cancers, she supports that, completely supports it. Doesn't think that any of your food should be labeled anything. What? Labeled for what? I'm good. You need to know these things.
Yeah.
She's been in bed with Wall Street, and I understand about having a working relationship, but there's a difference between having a working relationship and then hiring the ex-lobbyist for Monsanto. Ex-lobbyist. Well, Miss G called up and she was like, Tayla, you don't know what that man did. You know, maybe he was against Monsanto. If you are a lobbyist, he had bread. He knew what he was doing. This means that you were lobbying for millions of Americans to be fed food that is not
for
you, does not have the nutrients you need.
Nope.
Is pumped up with all types of everything, pesticides, herbicides.
All kind of stuff that happened to you. Yeah.
You can't. I'm trying to tell you, and I'm so glad somebody else said it and not me. Hillary Clinton's real constituency has been and will always be Wall Street and the military industrial complex.
Dollars.
Money. Benghazi alone is the reason why that woman does not need to run our country, because she will look you dead in your face and tell you a whole slew of lies.
Yep.
And then when you find out the truth, she's like, well, what had happened was.
Right. She's good for that. Absolutely.
New tech tattoos will be tied to medical and banking information. What does sound like? I don't care if you're a Muslim. I don't care if you're a Buddhist. I don't care if you're a Christian. What does sound like? The mark of the beast. Tech tattoos will be tied to medical and banking information. Apparently, a tech company called Chaotic Moon is looking to take advantage of the 20% of humans who already have proclivity towards tattoos. For the rest, we have to just appeal to them a little more strategically. Of course, it's like a Band-Aid type
tattoo.
Type packaging. We carry wallets around so our information isn't vulnerable. We carry cases to make sure our cell phones are protected. But one of the things that we have no idea about is our medical information, and we are not privy to that information. So go ahead and get all of your medical, all of your banking information in this little tattoo. All the doctor has to do, all your bank has to do is scan this information, and all your information comes up.
Wow.
Bing.
Yeah, I'm all set.
Bing! Don't act like that cube that they have everywhere. Go ahead and just scan the phone and all the information pops up. Bing!
Oh, you mean that little barcode?
That little barcode, though. Where's that little?
Yeah, it's a square.
Yeah, I don't use it often, so I don't know the name of it, but it's like a little square and it has a whole bunch of black and white and weird kaleidoscope type thing.
They have something like that at my job in the cafeteria, and people pay for their stuff that way.
Bing!
Yeah, exactly.
Bing!
I'm all set.
Mark of the beast. Bing! In other news, a state asked court to penalize food industry trade group in the genetically modified labeling lawsuit. So it's called Yes on 522, labeling genetically engineered foods. Washington State Attorney General has asked the court to penalize Grocers Manufacturer Association, GMA, for its intentional ability to say, we don't want to label anything because we're trying to poison you. And we can't tell you we're poisoning you.
That's a shame.
But you know what? In all honesty, I believe that even if we do label, I think people don't even know how to read these labels. People still don't even know the numbers and the barcodes on fruits and vegetables.
No, they don't.
And what they mean, the 3s, the 4s, the 8s, the 9s, what these means as far as genetically modified, grown conventionally, whether they're heirlooms or not. And heirlooms is just like, this is an original, it's never been, heirloom means like generational. This is a tomato that was generationally grown. We did nothing to it. It's an heirloom.
So that's number 4. The regular?
No, no. Number 4 is um regular.
regularly grown.
Yes.
With pesticides on it.
Yes, and
Okay.
herbicides.
Yep.
And all types of other chemicals that people have to put suits on in order to spray over your food.
Hazmat suits.
Hazmat suits, exactly. You can't smell it, but I can eat it. That makes no sense. And again, you guys know I grew up on a farm. When we sprayed our vegetables and fruits, we did not have masks on. And my uncle, to this day, I ask him about so it wasn't Monsanto, it was Ready Up. Ready Up.
That's what it was called?
Yes, it was called Ready Up. Yeah. And I asked him about it, and he was like, "Oh, no, you don't put that on food. No. And they keep telling me, Taylor, his mind's going. Uncle Georgie been telling me for years, no mess with that stuff. He said, what he said was that when it first came out, I used it. Now, Uncle Georgie was the farmer. He was the one who took care of the farm, even though he had a full-time job. I don't know how the man did it while having frostbite his entire life for fighting in the war. So he said he used it in the beginning. The first time when it first came out, he used it. He said it killed all the crops, all of the crops. From Ready Up, Roundup Ready Up.
Roundup Ready Up. Oh, man, look at that name. That doesn't sound right.
Mind you, least we not forget, this is the same product that we sat there and flattened Vietnam with. So they had all that flush greenery everywhere. And we were like, yo, the Viet Cong is hiding in the woods. So let's level the woods. Yeah. And they sprayed Agent Orange. Yeah. We are paying some Vietnam families because we poisoned them, and they're still seeing the side effects to this day. Generations through DNA are still seeing those side effects, and we are also paying pilots that were in the planes of the Agent Orange to spray it, who ended up getting all types of different cancers and tumors and everything else. Mind you, they were just in the plane with the stuff. Yeah. So
them films, man.
If you didn't know, I do your own due diligence. Yeah. I never lie. I don't believe me, just read.
And going back to the labels, I was in what was that? I think I was going to Market Basket, and I seen a person. I was walking down an aisle. I forget what it was, but I was walking down an aisle, and a person was trying to read a label, and they stopped me and they said, "Excuse me, sir, can you help me, please?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure. What's going on?" And they were like, "Can you pronounce this word for me?" And I was like, "Monounsaturated." And the other one, I was like, "Polyunsaturated." And they were like, "What is that?" And I was like, "That's good." I said, the mono and the poly is actually good because when you look at the saturated fat and, the fats and all that kind of stuff, that's the stuff that's really not good for you. But I was glad to actually be stopped and actually help them and give them more clarity as to what monounsaturated and polyunsaturated meant, because they didn't know, talking about the food labels.
Shoot, you better school me, because I feel like I don't know. I know mono is singular, yeah. Poly is multiple.
There you go.
So that's all I know. Okay. And saturated is, but saturation.
Right, but that's the good side of the I believe it's the when we talk about the sugars and all that kind of stuff
and fats.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff. This kind of like deters that and is actually good for you. So anything that has poly and monounsaturated stuff in it, you might want to get that product because it's good for you.
Hallelujah. Thank you, Reggie B. I think we just learned something today.
Yeah, we learn every day. I don't care how old we get, we still learning something because we don't know everything.
You don't know the answers, Sway.
You don't know me.
You don't have all the answers. All right, in other news, do not let go of your dream home. They went ahead and you can visually watch this dream home being built in hours. Now, listen, they've been trying to throw up some of these housing projects for how long? Been working on some of these buildings for how long? But these houses that are like these throw-up houses, you can put them together with an electric screwdriver. Like it's like zoom, 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 zoom. Yes, and you just corner after corner, and it kind of mirrors those what are those double wide? What's that called? Double wide. The white comedian talks about living in them. Oh Lord, Eminem lived in one.
Oh, trailer.
Yes. So they look like the double wide trailers, but you can and they're easily
So they're
put.
trailer homes.
They're not. It's not a trailer
It's not a
home.
trailer home?
It's a pop-up house.
Okay.
It costs as much as $530,000 if your style is very high end. Like if you have a high end, beautiful, elegant $1 million home, it's $530. But
Okay.
all you need is a freaking screwdriver to put it together. It blows
Wow.
my mind.
That's crazy.
And they have some that are $180,000.
That's more doable.
It is. It is. And they're not ugly. Like you would think, come look at them. It's absolutely amazing. Of course, I'm going to put this on the Wake Up with Tayla Andre page so you guys can see this for yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that dope?
Yeah, that's
And
dope.
you can pick different styles. Like, of course, you could just do the regular trailer looking one, or you can have like, look at that.
It's nice.
It is nice.
They are nice places, guys. I'm looking right at them on
Put
the
it
screen.
on your lip, Reggie B. They can't hear you.
They look real nice. I'm looking at it on the screen. There's 4 different models here. So, yeah, they're nice.
I love it. Listen, there's options out here. Don't let the society have you conform to all types of nonsense. You could be out in these streets
And
with a beautiful house, with a pop-up shop type house.
180 something. That's all you need.
You know what? That means you can move whenever you want. Just go get the screwdriver. We leaving. We moving. We off this. Come on, we moving to Atlanta.
Wherever.
Well, you can move wherever. Just go ahead and get a U-Haul and put your house in a U-Haul. That's actually kind of dope, though.
You get that little screw gun, you have it up like that. Because screwdriver take a little hand work.
Yes, and the electric. That's what it said. All you need is an electric screwdriver.
Yeah.
I think that's so dope. That is so dope, and I'm, you know, I'm not a conformist. I don't believe that you should wake up every single day, go to work, come home, go to work, come home, go to work, come home, and not have a life.
Yeah.
If your life sounds like you want a pop-up shop, I'm sorry. If you want a pop-up shop type house, $180,000, and you just want to get up and move, I guess that's the same as, what are those RVs, the little trailer homes that you could travel across the country and just live your life. Yeah. So I've been seeing a lot of articles. I know this is off the topic of news, but it is in a sense. I've seen a lot of people who were in the corporate world. There was one woman who worked in finance, was making millions of dollars a year, and went ahead and quit her job and became a yoga instructor. That's dope. My cousin, she wasn't in finance, but I think she was an underwriter. Underwriters get paid some good money, and she quit. So she became a yoga instructor. There's a man who was on Wall Street. He worked on Wall Street. He left Wall Street and started traveling the world on his sailboat, talking about I don't have to pay for anything because the wind is free. We don't think for a second what our ancestors used, what our ancestors did. We didn't have electricity all our lives. We didn't have, actually, Egypt did have plumbing from what I understood. Oh, yeah. So we did have that, but we didn't have all of these gadgets and gizmos aplenty. They didn't need that. Y'all know where that's from? Little Mermaid. I got gadgets and gizmos aplenty. I Little Mermaid, I'm sorry. You ain't got kids like that, Reggie B. No, I really don't. They be on repeat. You don't even want to learn the song. Find yourself singing for no reason. Oh boy. A group of students at Harvard Medical. Oh, we read the story yesterday about the Justice Coalition coming together. Yeah. And making the school do X, Y, and Z. Yeah, absolutely. Hire more diverse teachers and ease up on the admissions so we can have more diverse admissions as well. Yeah. You know, President Barack Obama takes a jab at Donald Trump in a speech during his first visit. And from what I understand, the first time a president ever visited a mosque, ever. Wow. He visited an American mosque. President Barack Obama paid a visit to the Islamic Society of Baltimore on Wednesday. The visit marked the first time Mr. Obama has set foot in a U.S. mosque during his presidency. He has visited mosques in other countries, but never here on our own soil. During his speech, President Barack Obama hit back at the inexcusable anti-Muslim rhetoric in politics. Mr. Obama also sat down with members of the mosque to discuss concerns about bias towards Muslim Americans. This is a beautiful thing. He was also the first president to walk into a prison. You can't tell me, I don't care if you don't like his policies. I don't care if you don't like him as a person. You can't say that he has not been good for America. Now, a lot of people tout some of the statistics about how many people have died during his presidency, how many people we've killed overseas during his presidency. He's trying to do the right thing, but I feel as if him and his decisions have created
What?
I want to say that,
Iffy?
yeah, that people just.
It says like what? Give me an example.
Sometimes when you think you're doing the right thing and when you are doing the right thing, it doesn't produce the results you thought it was going to produce.
Okay, that makes sense.
And, you know, it happens all the time. Like sometimes you think if you whoop your child, that your child's going to act right. But sometimes you just have that rebellious baby that's not going to do right.
Yep.
You have to sit down and talk. I don't know what you got to do with hard-headed children like that. I need to learn because Anari's becoming hard-headed. It's that teenage years. It's teenage.
You have to give him that look.
It ain't even about the look anymore. It's about, I don't know. He be knocked out.
You might have to hem him up, grab him by the shirt and lift him off the ground. Put him on the wall. He'll straighten up.
Shoot, I'm about to send him to boot camp.
Uh-oh.
Let me stop because he's probably listening right now. Like, no, mommy, no. We have a call on the line, 617-282-0062. Good Rise and Call you live.
Good morning. How are you doing?
How are you, baby?
I'm doing good. Tayla, I think the irony is when we talk about Obama and the Democrats and Republicans, they both take money from the same people.
Yeah.
The same people. So my question is, how can you be much different if you're taking money? The only person in the history of this country that's run for presidency who hasn't taken one cent from corporate America in the presidential run. Now, I don't know about previously, it's Bernie Sanders. So other than that, you can't tell me there's much of a difference. Now, granted, Obama gave a few crumbs, and I like the fact that he built the consumer protection with, I think it was Senator Elizabeth Warren. But, you know, just because you throw a few crumbs, it's like the drug dealer who gives out turkeys at Thanksgiving, but yet, you know, commits evil all year round. Just because he put a black face over evil, it doesn't make it less evil.
Hey, you know what? I can say that you are completely unbiased. Because I thought you were just racist, but you are not. You are completely unbiased. When somebody
Michael Dyson, he gives a great dissertation about racism. If you ain't got no money, you got no racism. You can be prejudiced, but you can't be racist without money.
You got money. You done told us you had money. You had money in the bank for a rainy day.
There's a difference between copper money and you own the color blue money. Like the Rothschilds, they got money. Ninjas just got pennies and copper. $100 trillion, that's money. That's money where you don't put in the paper. Matter of fact, people won't ever put their pictures in the media because your company will get shut down if not assassinated. You never see the Rothschilds in the media. You might hear the name, but how many pictures have you seen? And that family is huge.
You're right. You're absolutely right. The only Rothschild I've ever seen in the media was the one that was ousted by the grandfather. The
with the black dude, some DJ in Europe, this granddaughter, but I think she's running around with a colored DJ, and I'm surprised we haven't taken him out. But they're probably like, it's not worth it. If we kill him, it's just gonna get media attention.
Well, thank you for that. Love and appreciate you. In other news, a woman who suffered brutal beating by the police officer was caught on CC, or closed circuit television, is found dead in her prison cell. Her name is Sarah Reed. Say her name. Sarah Reed was found dead in a cell in Holloway prison last month. 32-year-old was subjected to a brutal assault by police officers in 2012. James Kitty was caught on CCTV punching Miss Reed in the face 3 times. He also dragged her by her hair across the floor. Listen, say her name. Beautiful Latina sister, or she looks Latin. She could be something else. Now, this is international. This is not here on our soil. But for me, the problem is we have given our police entirely too much power. Too much power. We don't hold them accountable. And if you have a child who's doing the same thing over and over again, you have cousins that are doing the same thing over and over again, and all these children are getting the same punishment where they're getting that, you better not do that again. You better not do that again. When we're not holding these police officers accountable and everybody feels like they can do what they want to do. And I always equate it back to children. As a mom, I understand that you have to teach people how to treat you. And we have to retrain all police officers to know what their job is. Your job is not to harass me. I'm so sick and tired of seeing cars and trucks being pulled over, these people being pulled out of their vehicles, babies were in the back seat or currently on the curb, and then because I'm a peeper, I'll sit and watch the whole thing go down, and then they get back in the vehicle and drive off. First and foremost, you had no right to search my vehicle. Second of all, you did all that, and what did you find? Not a damn thing. You wasting taxpaying dollars. And this ain't just here in Massachusetts. And the fact that she is not the first, she is not going to be the last. We should not have men arresting women. I said it. We do not need men, should not have men arresting women. Especially when they're over here brutalizing them, punching them in the face.
Oh, yeah.
Say, if we go back to Sandra Bland, there was no reason. She said it.
Yeah.
You slammed me on the ground and my head bounced off the concrete.
Yep. He didn't care. He kept on going.
And then the woman ended up dead.
What about the MBTA driver? I mean, I'm not the MBTA driver, but the MBTA officer, there was one, not the one where the girl was on the bus where he drew the gun. But there was another one where we were standing at the sidewalk waiting for the bus. And then the cops came around and they started surrounding them and they just slammed her to the ground. And yeah, it's crazy. They didn't have to do that. She's a female. They didn't have to do that. And
She's a female.
You got this big old tall guy, MBTA police officer. He could have just easily just grabbed her up and restrained her. Yeah. But instead of just slamming her to the ground like that.
It's too much. It is. It's entirely too much. Really quickly, because our very special guest is currently in the building, I want to talk about this Zika virus one more time. So there's a woman who has a 9 and a 14-year-old with a rare condition that is like Zika virus. It is called, y'all know I'm crazy. I can't pronounce it though. Microcephaly. Something like that. Her daughters cannot walk nor speak. They suffer from seizures daily, and they have very, very short heads. So I'm going to share this story on the Wake Up with Tayla Andre page. I wish you could see it. You can see it, Reggie B?
Yeah, they do. Oh, man.
Yeah. They can't walk. They can't talk.
Like popping out of their heads, though.
They have little small heads. Yeah. They kind of, in a sense, look a little like dwarfs. I don't know as a parent how I would feel if I had 2 children that couldn't walk, couldn't talk, have very limited brain functions, don't have motor skills as far as like talking and writing. Like
that's a lot of stress. Right
that is a lot of stress. She said that she loves her daughters. They're no different than any other children, but at the same time, they are very much so. They are.
And got that.
They're saying that it's a birth defect, but yet if it's a birth defect, and this is something we've known about for years, and I was thinking about this the other day because I did see something on the Discovery Channel about this disease where the young girl, she died at a very young age.
From the same one?
No, not from this story, but from the same birth defect, microcephaly.
That's what I'm asking.
Yes.
That's ugly.
It is ugly.
Where's this stuff coming from? Food?
You know what? So let me tell you about a meme I saw. I don't know how true it is. It's not the truth. It's just my opinion based on a meme that I saw. But the meme said that Bill Gates went ahead and created these genetically modified mosquitoes. This is true. We know genetically modified mosquitoes are real. I read the story probably about 6 months ago. If you don't believe me, just read, do your own due diligence. And then he genetically modified mosquitoes to create a disease, and then so he could create the vaccine.
Well, somewhat of a cure.
Yeah, so he looks like a martyr in a sense. I don't know. I'm not a conspiracy theorist.
But that's pure evil. That's evil.
Hey, welcome to 2016. We've had evil on this earth for how long? Deliver us from the evil one. All day, every day. 617-282-0062. Good rising, call you live.
Hello.
Hi, baby. How you?
How you doing? Yeah. So basically, that virus was
It's man-made. It was to offset the diseases that they was having in high climatic areas, especially the West Indies and certain parts of Africa, where they're prone to having some type of malaria and other like tropical diseases. So that was just to stop the offset the diseases that they was catching in the tropical areas. And then that was apparently modified, engineered by Bill Gates and his
foundation
engineers, just to try to stop the other diseases that were going on in high climatic areas. But as you can see, sometimes you gotta let nature take its course, because when you alter with nature, you get these type of defects. It's crazy.
Okay. Damn. So I'm gonna go ahead and do my own due diligence. I have some time this weekend, and I'm gonna read about it and see what I can find. Because
you up, but also read about Bill Gates, because he's a part of eugenics too. And him and his father had a big stake in eugenics with that lady Granger. So it's deeper than what people think it is. It's all part of population control. Just definitely look into Bill Gates.
So for those who don't know what eugenics is, we are going to have an expert on Tuesday. Yep, his name is Hanef El. You know, I butcher names. No, he's not Somali. El?
He says Hanef El.
Bay El. You know who it is. Last but not least, last story. Massachusetts had hundreds of suspensions last year in kindergarten and pre-K. Foot down. Let me say one thing about education. You cannot for 5 seconds think that it is okay for us to put our babies in these schools where they do not serve our children. How on earth? There's one mom and her son who got 603 demerits or punishments. He was suspended from school before he could read, write, or tie his damn shoes. Lot of mercy.
That's ridiculous.
You know, we have Dr. Umar Johnson calling in, talking about our young boys, black and brown boys who are in these school systems that do not serve them. You don't know Dr. Umar Johnson?
I'm saying when.
Oh, when? We have him for Black History Month.
It's going to be the second time going there.
Absolutely.
I don't forget.
I know you don't, Reggie.
You about to give me one too. You looked at me like, you don't know who he is.
You know who he is.
Oh, yeah.
You were supposed to come to the event in Rhode Island.
Yeah, but I got caught.
It didn't work out. So we have a call on the line, but we need to get into this topic because this is the most important topic that all you mothers and all you fathers love and hate at the same damn time. But caller, you're live. Good rising. Hey, Harrison, I love you.
I love you back.
I don't have a bio for you.
Look, people that have big money, right? Like the Rothschild, Bill Gates, and all these people. You know, all these people get that money. It's not just like that. Okay, there is a spirit that talks with these people. Say, do this, do that, do this, do that. Why you and I we don't have that type of money? It's because we are not connected, all right? And those spirits are demons. They want to destroy the human race. It's all about that. That's one. Second, viruses, they always come from Africa or where black people live. Why is that?
Anything else?
Before the virus has been discovered, white men
to
have
make
to
sure
come
that you get whatever the
say,
most that you can
we
get.
were there and we discovered
How
that.
do you say your last name?
Who put it there? I need to know.
Yes.
What time?
That's the question. I need to know.
I
Because
get
they
back Sunday
injected
at 6.
monkeys with viruses
10
and
a.m.
then they catch the monkey that
10 a.m. to
that's
6
where it's
p.m.
from. But who put it there? You put it there,
Fenari.
okay, to discredit us. But that's not
What's
going
your
to happen.
nationality?
Our eyes are opening now. That's all I have to say today.
Thank you, baby. You know, Harrison, you know I love you. You know I appreciate you, right?
Everybody, you appreciate everybody. So, hey, why not?
Harrison, I have a special love for you, Harrison. Okay? I love you with an asterisk. How about that? He said you love everybody, so I guess that's good. I guess I'll accept that. I do love everybody, Harrison, because that's love makes the world go round, not money. Love and energy and positivity. That's what makes the world go round. So if I could love you and everybody else at the same time and share that love and spread love, it's a conglomerate. Pun intended. We have an amazing attorney. This is a topic that everybody loves and hates at the same damn time. Come over here, baby. Put it on your lip. Put it on your lip. And you know I butcher names. So don't beat me. Don't beat me. In the building today, we have Bay State Law Group. She is from a firm of 3 female attorneys, Cheryl Ferrani, Fernari. So it's like a nari with a fur in front of it. Fernari handles all family law cases. Their office is in Stoughton, but they serve all of Suffolk, Norfolk, and Plymouth County. Good rising, Queen. How are you?
Good morning. I'm well, and how are you doing?
I'm super fantastic. Put it on your lip so we can hear you.
Oh, my apologies.
So I'm not even going to, we're going to completely jump right into it.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm a father. I just had a baby with a woman. We're having problems. We're having issues, and she won't let me see my kid. What do I do?
Well, first, it depends on whether you are actually on the birth certificate or not.
I'm not on the birth certificate.
So if you're not in the birth certificate, unfortunately, you're going to have to file an action for paternity first to determine whether you are the father or not. You have to establish your rights first.
How much does that cost me?
Well, if you go down to most county courthouses, what's going to happen is you're going to have to pay the filing fee. So usually that's about $120 to file for the paternity action. And then from there, you're going to have to pay possibly for the DNA testing. If you do not have DNA testing to prove you are the father, you're not going to be able to even ask for custody or visitation yet.
So before I can do anything, I have to first ask.
Yes.
I have to first prove that this is my child.
Absolutely.
So what if I go ahead and go online and get a DNA test?
Right. And you could bring that to the court, but if you're not in the birth certificate, the Department of Revenue are going to want to have a DNA test.
The Department of Revenue.
Yes.
The Department of Give Me Your Money is going to dictate first whether or not I'm the father.
Yes.
Do you see the first problem here?
Absolutely. Because once you go through that process, immediately they're going to apply for, child support for that woman, whether she asks for it or not. If she has social service.
Hold on, what do you mean if she asks for it or not?
That's not how this works. The Department of Revenue, especially if the woman has services, if she has any type of services, it doesn't matter even if she declines the child support, they're going to move forward and say that you have to pay the child support. They're not going to pay welfare, food stamps, or any type of activities, anything, if they're going to have any issues with that.
I'm a woman that supports fathers' rights and fathers' equality, 100%. And the system is broken.
Absolutely.
So daddies, I don't care how much she gets on your damn nerves. If you don't show up in that delivery room and sign that damn birth certificates, you already took away more than half of your rights.
It takes a long time, especially I have a few cases right now where the mothers don't show up. And if we can't serve them and we can't get them in a court, you can't really waive them in. There's no proof that you're even the father. It can take a year until I can actually prove that you're the father if we can't find her or she's hiding or escaping service. So you need to be on the birth certificate.
Hold on. The bride gets food stamps and you can't find her? Cut off the food stamps. You'll find her. You won't even have to find her. She'll find you.
Listen, they move around, especially if the
So you can't. So if she's not compliant upon the fact that I'm trying to establish paternity for my child,
yes,
you can't cut off her services because y'all take my license. So I'm a man today. So for those who don't know, I'm role playing. I'm a man. We're talking about father's rights, and right now I have none.
Yes. It's very unfortunate. I've had cases where I've gone to a place where I deserve a judgment, and the judge is like, I can't give you a judgment if I don't have the DNA test from the state that proves you are the father.
From the state.
You could be a random man asking for rights to this child. That's how the court looks at it.
Oh, but it's okay for a woman to ask for money from a man that's not the father.
Yep. And listen, that's the other thing. If you are a guy, I don't care how long you were with that woman, if she brings you for child support, ask for a DNA test, because for one, it will at least delay the time until the child support kicks in, because they can't start child support.
But you still owe back, though. It starts from that moment, right?
Unless you show that you were living with her. So you have to have proper advocates. You can't just show up to court and think that I'll be all right. She doesn't have a lawyer. Yes, she does. She has the Department of Revenue as her free lawyer. You need to have an advocate when you go there. There are people who you can pay a small fee for the day or go to a lawyer for the day. Don't just walk up in there and say, oh, by the way, I was living here. They're going to be like, yeah, no, you weren't. Let's start from day one. Like, that's just not how. You need to go in there with a proper advocate and explain and bring all your receipts. You need to make sure that you show any time that you were living with her. You can't pay child support for a time when you're sharing a roof over your head.
Are you serious? I hope we just helped a whole bunch of men. because some of these women got this dude sleeping on the couch and still collecting child support from him.
Yep. I know guys that will say, well, I don't want to really, get her upset by going to court. I'm like, look, you're over here getting child support arrears building higher and higher. Why are you paying half that rent? If you're on that lease, you need to bring that lease. You need to show and establish that you are living together.
Hold on, but pause. Half of them ain't on the lease, though.
Okay, maybe they're not on the lease, but if you say, look, here, I was giving her cash every month, at least now you're going to have to make a situation where she's going to have to prove or say or lie to the court and say, oh, yeah, we weren't together, we weren't living together.
Okay, so pause, because there have been instances that I've heard of, because, I'm a pretend man, not a real man, circumstances where men would go to court and the judge would say, I don't care if you can't afford this. Like, I know you can't afford this. I'm looking at your bills in front of me. And why do they go on your gross? Like, I don't see my gross.
Well, unfortunately, the judges really have no handle in it. The child support guidelines are statutory, and what they do is they fill in different numbers into the guidelines, and from those guidelines, they pop out a magical number on the sheet, and they have to go by that. Otherwise, they have to actually do some work and do a written finding to find that you should not have to pay child support for up or down. Now, reasons or things you should get credit for are if you pay for childcare, if you pay for healthcare, if you pay, for the dentist. Those are three things. If you say, look, I'm paying for these things, you can make sure you get a credit. I've also had situations where not all the DOR attorneys are going to be as aggressive as others, where I've gone in front of a judge and said, look, I would rather my client pay like $10 more and not pay for healthcare, because you do not get a dollar for dollar credit when you pay for healthcare. It's not like, oh, I pay $50 a week for healthcare for the family plan and I'm going to get $50 deduction on my child support. No, probably going to get a $10 deduction. So it's better to sometimes just pay straight child support, not then agree to healthcare and the child support.
Okay, great. These are great facts. We have a question over here that says, is it ever too late to put your name on the birth certificate?
Never too late. I have a case right now where the child is 19, but they're doing it for the purposes of college and loans. If the mother agrees, you can go in.
But why does the mother have to agree if we already established paternity?
Because you're not married, and they still honor marriage to be the ultimate relationship in this country. And so if you're
not, guys marry her. Listen, this is what you're gonna do.
They'll make every woman happy.
As a pretend man,
yep.
As a pretend man, I'm gonna go ahead and give you this advice, right? So you find out she's pregnant, you guys are having a baby, she's getting on your last nerve, you already know child support's coming. Bust out that bubblegum ring, put it on her finger, go to the justice of peace, make sure you sign that birth certificate, but then you have to worry about divorce, and then she's gonna get you for alimony, and damn it, there's no win here.
There's no alimony unless you're making real money. You can't pay child support and alimony unless you're making, close to six figures. So there's not two dips. So there's not two different ways to dip into the pool.
It feels like it.
I know it feels like it. Child support on a gross number is almost harmful, but at the same time, if you have a mother who's struggling on a minimum wage job, the money she's getting from dad is not covering to help to take care of the kids. So I don't know what the right answer is.
Yeah, that is true. Because as much as I advocate for good fathers, there's a lot of deadbeat dads out here too. And I want to be clear that when I speak about fathers' rights and when I speak about parental equality, I'm not speaking for deadbeats. I do not speak for deadbeats. I do not like deadbeats. I do not condone deadbeats, not half beats or 16th beats. I like real men that do real things and love their children and want to be a part of their children's lives. But we have broads out here that are spiteful, vindictive, and need some home training.
I love especially the deadbeats that show up and want visitation only after the woman asks for child support if she couldn't do it on her own after a while. There's a lot of cases where the guys don't care to show up, 5-10 years later, only because now mom's deciding I should come for child support, I need help. And that's when they decide to want to fight for visitation when they've been absent for so long.
But sometimes, every coin is double-sided.
Absolutely.
There's some men that are out here that want to be a part of their children's lives, but the woman gives them so much stress, so much headaches that they're like, listen, I can't do this. I want to kill myself. And I'd rather just take a step back and leave the situation alone because this is causing me so much stress.
I think a lot of times too, when men do that, like women fight on their emotions and men fight on their pride. A lot of times, I'll tell you this: if you have the right advocate, and if you, unfortunately, I'm obviously going to say you need a lawyer because I am a lawyer. But if you have a lawyer who can advocate, say, okay, you need your pickup and drop offs at a neutral location, and you don't need to speak to this woman except for unless there's an emergency on either side. You really relieve that stress because guess what? You have a court order that says you're going to see the child at this time. She has to, you pick up the child and then you drop off the child. As long as everything's fine, you don't have to deal with the woman unless the child's really young. But you can establish close guidelines where you don't have to deal with one another. So when guys say, I don't want to deal with the stress because she's going to say things, that's because you're still entertaining the conversation. You have to put up a whole wall to it. I tell it to all my divorce clients because it's very hard to pull away. And they say, well, she says A, B, and C. I'm like, look, only thing you have to say is I'm 2 minutes late. And then just don't respond to the text messages unless there's an emergency. The kids are safe, bye. And then you ignore her for the rest of your visit. That's it. You don't respond to her messages. She doesn't need to know information because she sure doesn't give you information while she has the children all week. So you just have to put a code block and say we're only speaking about the kids, and I keep it to text or email so it can be proven later on. You get your court order and that's it. And then, because a lot of times you blame the mom, but the kid's not going to care whether mom was being one way or the other when they're older.
So what about, all right, so let's say, for instance, I get to see my child when she lets me see my child. Like when she's in a good mood, I get to see my child. When she's in a bad mood, I don't get to see my child. I don't want to go to court and sit here. I don't want to go back to court. I went to court one time, and that's when they put me on child support. And it wasn't like it was a man bashing segment. The judge is a female. Everybody else is in the room is a female, except for the men that are being bashed and put on the system, Social Security Title 40. Yes. We know about that. We were educated on that. Dollar for dollar, the state gets 60% of every child support dollar that comes into the system. Of course they want daddies on child support. Of course they want mothers on child. There's some moms out here that are on child support too.
Yes, there are. I think, unfortunately, like the thing is that some advocates, like I do a lot of mediation, you need to find a lawyer that's willing to say, I'll have a sit down with mom. I've done situations where let's not file. You want more visits? What we'll do is we'll reach out to mom and say, look, present a parenting plan in a non-hostile manner. I talk to the mom. I'm very polite to the mom, and I say, here's an agreement.
I want to be polite to the bride.
Listen, if you want your client to get something, you can't be mean because otherwise you'll be back in court. So I'll be polite to the mom. I will establish a relationship with the mom and say, what are the things you really want dad to be able to do? Oh, you want a Friday night to yourself? Guess what? He's willing to do that. Oh, you want to be able to work extra hours? He'll pick up the child after school. You find where the holes in mom's schedule are, and then you negotiate those things, and you sit down in an environment where it's not at court. Moms, although they'll take you to court, don't like it either. So if we all have a sit down in the office, we create an agreement and we all sit there together and create it together, and then dad gets more visits and mom doesn't feel like she's being taken advantage of. You sign that agreement and you have all the paperwork ready so she can sign the joint petition and it gets filed in the court. It's a real court order, but you never step foot in the court.
Okay. How much is this going to cost me?
Well, to file that, it's going to be similar to a similar complaint. It just depends on the particular lawyer fees. Like some lawyers will say, if it's a flat rate and I only have one session with you,
we don't have lawyers in the building. We got you. How much is it going to cost me?
If I'm drafting the agreement and sitting down, I'll do a flat 500 fee. Unless I'm doing several different sessions with the parties. Okay. So I typically will charge $200-$300. It depends on the party's income. So to be honest, I do a financial profile of the people that come in because I'll have someone making six figures saying I can't afford this. So it does depend upon your need and where you range financially. But if you're on the poverty guidelines, I have reduced fee. But it depends on your income and things of that nature.
Wow. So you're probably the only attorney that does this.
There's a group of lawyers that sign up for Mass Bar and Boston Bar. We have a reduced fee panel where we actually look at your actual income and are willing to do hourly rates based upon your income, and we have a sliding scale based upon what actual income you bring home.
How can I reach you? Because as a man, I've been dealing with my BM for so long. For those that are just now tuning in, Big City 101.3 FM, I'm not really a man. I'm playing one in real life right now. We're talking about child support. We're talking about parental equality. We're talking about fathers' rights. We're talking, and we do this a lot as far as conversation is concerned, but we don't have the legal aspect of having a family attorney in the building. Danny Osina, a good friend of both of ours, he is usually in the building and he has some general knowledge on this, but that's not his expertise. But this is yours.
Danny's like, Cheryl, will you take my family law cases, please? It's something, it's definitely an acquired taste for certain lawyers. Some lawyers don't like family law. You have to find your niche. You can only do so many big areas. So Danny definitely says, Cheryl, here you go. And if I see something criminal or other things in nature, I'm like, Danny, slide it that way. If you do want to reach Bay State Law Group, you can always give me a call at 617-320-7383. Oh, I'll say that again. That's 617-320-7383.
One more time if they didn't get it.
Absolutely. Bay State Law Group, you can reach me at 617-320-7383. Always leave me a voicemail. I'm in court anywhere between 2 to 5 times a week, so if you leave me a voicemail, we will return your call.
And I love your voicemail. It's like, you've reached the confidential voicemail. It's like, listen, this is the secret back line. Whatever you say here can and will not be held against you. So I definitely appreciate that. But I'm a man.
Yes.
I get to see my child, when she wants me to see my child. I got a little girlfriend on the side. She hates my girlfriend. And she dictates whether or not I can see my child based on, how she feels about my girlfriend at that time.
I mean, I think the thing is, it all depends upon how much he knows about the girlfriend and keeping the girlfriend separate. Unless this woman's going to be your wife and she's just a temporary girlfriend, you don't want to affect the ability to be around your child. So I think it really depends upon where you are with that girlfriend. And I think establishing different things, like I'd like to take him to outside activities, and you want the child to establish that relationship until the mother feels comfortable. This is a stranger, and if you guys didn't end on a bad note, she's going to feel emotional about this woman. So yes, a lot of times you have to make sure that, you try to make a situation where sometimes they'll say to dads, like, look, why don't we agree that I had a situation where mom absolutely wanted nothing to do with the girlfriend. So he said, okay, we're going to do a transition plan. We're going to do a situation where girlfriend's only going to be there for an hour. The next visit, she'll be there for a few hours. And then eventually she'll be there for the whole overnight. But that way, at least mom feels she has control when she really doesn't, because she's not going to know how long the girlfriend's really there. But at least you do a transition plan. So it's
just
not
lie to her.
It's not about just lying to her. I think the point is that men are more likely to introduce several women into children's life, and that is not appropriate. Whereas women will never show a single man to their children. And so I think if you're showing several different women, you can't expect her to be okay with that.
Put her on your lip. There's some women out here that show several men, and some men that won't show a woman at all. So, as a man, I'm going to go ahead and advocate for myself. So we do have a caller on the line. If you have any questions, Big City 101.3 FM, with Tayla Andre, Parental Equality, Father's Rights. If you have any legal questions, we have
Cheryl Fenari.
Fenari. I got it. I promise I do. 617-282-0062. Give the call you live.
Good morning. I just had a question. How could you adjudicate a child's name to be changed on the birth certificate and the father's deceased? Never been a part of the child's life.
Good question. Thank you, baby.
There's actually a particular petition to change a child's name, and it's going to involve publishing in the newspaper to make sure the mother's not actually kidnapping the child. Once you get that petition signed, you go down to Vital Statistics over in Dorchester by UMass Boston, and you're able to adapt or change a birth certificate.
That's weird to me, because what do you mean kidnap the child? She just said the man was dead.
The court doesn't know that. And if I walk in and say, oh, the dad's dead,
what if I have a deceased letter, like a death certificate?
Well, if he is dead, why would you want to take him off the birth certificate?
No, she wants to adjudicate and put him on?
No, she wants to, do you want to put him on or off?
Ma'am, you still on the line?
Okay. Yes, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. Hold on one second. Micah, get Mr. Palmer his tea and his thing. Get a tea and a muffin. I'm sorry. His name was on the birth certificate. Long story short, had the baby, wrote down the baby's name. He decided to change it when I was sleeping. Okay, fine. He passed away. The baby's always used the maternal last name. His name's on the birth certificate. He passed away. We have a death certificate.
That would be just a name change, but it still would require a petition in the court. So you legally have to ask the court permission for a name change, and you have to go through the proceedings. And the thing is that the court doesn't take everyone at face value. You do have to publicize in the newspaper saying, I'm changing this name. You could do that whether he's dead or alive. And as long as he doesn't come back and petition, which he won't in this situation, yes, you can change it.
It will be changed on the birth certificate or just the name change paper?
Nope, you would bring that document from the court to Vital Statistics over in Dorchester, and they would modify the birth certificate as well.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you, baby. We love and appreciate you. Hope you have an awesome day. Now, I have a question as far as if she puts me on child support, because remember, I'm a man.
Yes.
If she puts me on child support, I'm not obligated by you putting me on child support. I don't just automatically get parental rights. I don't get rights to see my child. I don't get visitation rights. Why legally? If you are taking money from my check, I am paying to support my child. Why doesn't that automatically trigger the let's have the conversation about when you're going to see this child?
You can have that conversation.
No, I mean legally. Why isn't there a correlation? Child support, visitations. Child support, visitations.
Because you need to advocate for yourself with their DOR. And if you say, I want different visitation,
The Department of again, the underlying problem, money.
Well, here's the thing: you can file your own petition and ask for visitation right there. It's in the same room. When you're in any court, you go and ask for visitation, and that typically happens in response to a request for child support. And what happens though is DOR. Here's the thing: you have a lot of mothers who may not be able to afford an attorney. They want to file for child support, and especially if they're in the system, DOR is going to handle child support alone. They are not going to advocate then on the other side for the father's visitation rights. There's not like that's their own thing. So DOR attorneys will help with the child support. And if dad wants visitation, he can simply file the request and petition for visits, and that matter can be handled. So it's a matter of understanding what forms to fill out. It's a matter of advocating for yourself. If I'm there on what they call DOR day, I'm still going to sit there. If mom wants to agree to visits right there, you can ask her and sign an agreement, and the judge will approve it on the DOR case. If you want to, you just have to advocate for yourself. You can ask for it. The judge will approve visits along with the new child support order. But if you're just there by yourself and you're with the DOR attorney and mom doesn't seem like she wants to even deal with that, the DOR attorney is not going to push her because honestly, they're a government agency. They're not there really to represent mom or dad in terms of the custody problems.
We're here as DOR to represent ourselves. Where's our money?
Exactly.
From the state and from you, Dad. Where's our money? This is ridiculous. We have another question. If you wish to remain anonymous, TaylaAndre, just hit me up on Facebook and I'll go ahead and get your question asked. This question is, how many years are you legally responsible to pay child support?
If they go to college till they're 23.
What if the mom lied and said that the baby's in college, but that baby's not in school?
You need to prove the baby's not in school, or you file a modification saying the child is not in school, and you request the mom bring proof of the classes and things of that nature. So you file for a modification to terminate the child support because the child is not in college and not dependent upon mom after the age of 19, and at that point, mom would have to bring evidence or proof that the child's in college. So
19. If she's not if my baby's not in college,
and doesn't have a full-time job,
I have to pay until 19.
Possibly, yes. So the thing is that a lot of times kids graduate high school, they don't have a job, they're still on mom's couch, or in the mother's house. They still feel that it's appropriate to have child support continue if they're just not doing anything. But if the kid's working full time, no child support as well.
So you get to be a lazy bum and take money out of my pocket.
I wish the economy were so nice to say that kids can get a good paying job right out of high school. Unfortunately, a lot of kids can't get anything above minimum wage, and even if they do, it's not enough sufficiently to support themselves, so mom's still paying the bill for the kid.
And sometimes mom doesn't even have a job to hold the house afloat.
I mean, and if you think DOR is really hard, I think one of the more gruesome situations is that you are still required to pay child support while you're in prison, right?
Yes.
And the second you get out, not only are they going to assess an amount of arrears you owe, meaning how much you owe backwards, they're going to immediately assess penalties and fees of 1% interest per month that you did not pay.
Okay, pause. Penalties, interest for the months that I didn't pay, I was in jail.
Well, if you're in jail for more than 2 or 3 years, you actually have a right to petition the court to terminate that child support order while you're in there. So if you know you're going to do a bid that's more than 5 years.
She said a bid. Okay, go ahead.
You need to ask your advocate in the prison system to basically, or ask your mom or friends or homeboy, whoever you want, to petition the court to terminate your child support, because it won't run more, but you have to actually terminate it. I understand it's a little complicated for you to terminate it personally while you're in prison, but ask your friend, whoever's coming to visit you, to terminate that if you're going to be there longer than 5 years.
Okay, so anybody can do this petition for you. Could you say your homeboy, your friend, your mama?
They just got to bring the paperwork back to you at the next visit for you to sign. But yes, you say, hey, go get the paperwork for me. Call Cheryl, whoever you need.
And what's your number? One more time.
617-320-7383. Get the paperwork ready, and then someone can bring it to you to sign, and then someone can sign on behalf and just waive your appearance in the court. Or you can actually ask to be waived into the court, just like you do on your criminal appearances.
So there's an article really quickly. Mothers who refuse to let separated fathers see their children should have them taken away, a senior family court judge said yesterday. And I went ahead and posted this online. This was on February 2nd. This senior judge said that mothers who keep the children away from the father, the children should be taken away from the mother so you can know how it feels.
This is called parental alienation. Now, it's not that simple just because mom's being difficult and doesn't want to allow, more than extra visits. You're talking about the mom who you've been able to prove has been in contempt several times. This is not a simple...
So this is solely and only if you have a court order for visitation.
Correct.
But why should I need a visitation? Why should I have to why should I have to pay $150, correct?
Yes.
To file. And then I have to establish paternity. That's another, so $150. And
here's the thing. A woman's going to advocate for her rights in final courtroom. You have to protect yourself. And at the end of the day, it may seem like a pain, but it's going to cost, if you have to pay, here's the thing. If you are indigent, meaning that you are in the poverty guidelines, you can file fees to waive some of these fees. You can file what's called an indigency affidavit to waive the filing fee. If you, for instance, receive food stamps, welfare, SSI, SSDI, or you show that your income does not qualify for the filing fees, you can get them waived. So I think the thing is that you have to be able to fight for yourself just like a woman would. If a woman can walk in and fill a form, a man can walk in and fill a form. I think the idea is that, is it fair? No. But if you don't protect yourself, you're coming to me 5 years later, and I wish I met you 5 years ago.
Okay. All right. We have another caller on the line, 617-282-0062, the Rising Caller, you're live.
Right, Taylor. I got two questions for you, Jess. The first one is, how many kids can you have where you have to pay child support? Because there's a rumor going around saying that if you have 5 kids or more, they don't want to charge you for child support. I don't know. I'm just asking.
So what I will say is that if you have the first child support order, that's going to be established based on your gross income. Now, if you have a second child and that child goes to court as well, that child you're only going to get so much because you're going to get a credit for the first child support order. So I'm guessing, or I'm assuming, eventually you get to a place where there's just not enough dollars to go around. And unfortunately, mom number one, it depends on which way you're looking at it. Mom number one is not going to have her amount lowered simply because a man chooses to have several different babies and go forward, and all those mothers come to court as well.
So,
my second question is, what about if you have multiple houses, right? You're not working. Can the judge use this as an asset to the income to get child support from you?
Only if you have a current order, you are far deep in arrears, and she files a contempt, and they find that this is an order for, a way to satisfy that contempt, but not usually. So I think the problem is that you would already have to have a court order, and you'd all have to be very behind, and then say, I have nothing but the roof over my head, and you're not purposely underemploying yourself.
Okay. That's what I wanted to hear. Because my friend is paying $600 a month, no, a week, because he has 2 houses and he won a taxi cab. So he just wanted to know what he needs to do because it's getting really to a burden now.
Well, then he should call us, 617-282-0062. I love and appreciate you, but I want to hear his voice too. And $600 a week is a lot of money. A lot of money. We have another caller on the line, 617-282-0062. I do have some more questions as a man, in this child support business. I got a lot of questions, but I don't know. We're going to go ahead and take these phone lines, 617-282-0062. What legal questions do you have for Attorney Fenari? Hey, good rising, call you live.
Hi, good morning. I have a question. Now, if a father never paid child support, like literally paid like $50 and had 3 kids, and now that all the kids, the youngest one is 18 years old, and he owes almost like $1 million pretty much, and he's never paid, could the mother still go after him for that money, even though the child is 18 and older?
If there are arrears in a court order, absolutely, you can file a contempt at any time. This is a judgment, and this is an order he has. It doesn't disappear just because the child, it reached the age of maturity.
So potentially, if I don't pay my child support, I could be paying child support for my 50-year-old child.
Absolutely. I mean, the point is that if you got away with it, unless you get rid of it, it's a judgment. It's just like if you got sued for not paying a credit card. You owe this money under a court order.
But after 7 years, the credit card forgets.
No, they sure don't. I do also do small claims as well if you need help with that.
Plug. No, but okay, we'll have you in another day for small claims.
Absolutely.
We'll do small claims another day. Good Rising, Caller, you live. It's you, baby. Good Rising. Okay. Good Rising, Caller, you live.
Hello?
Yes, Good Rising, it's you, baby.
Hi.
Hi.
Tell you, I love listening to you every day. You're awesome.
Oh, thank you, baby. Thank you.
Question for child support. When a child goes to college, okay, is it supposed to be a full-time student status?
Yes, and it has to be at an appropriate school. So typically it's not going to be in a vocational, weekend program. It has to actually be, because the point is that you're proving the child is still dependent upon you. If they have time for a full-time job, then the child support should not continue. So this needs to be a full-time student, yes.
So like Mass Sawyer would be sufficient?
Correct, if they're full-time, yes.
Now, what is considered full-time for a student?
Well, it depends upon the school. I would say, they're taking 4 courses or more.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
That baby gonna have to take more courses. That baby taking 2 courses right now. His mom's like, nope, you gotta take 4 more. 617-282-0062, Good Rising, Caller, you're live.
Hi, good morning. I'm calling because I would like to have the attorney's number for my nephew. His case is so complicated, but it's just God. I just turned on the radio and you all were on. So I would like to, sit down with her so she can help him with this child support order.
Absolutely. My number is 617-320-7383.
Thank you, baby. We have another caller on the line. We actually have a whole bunch of calls, so we're gonna go ahead and take these back to back. Good Rising, Caller, you live.
What?
Good Rising, my king. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I just have a basic question. What if you have a child over 18, paying child support for her, and the child is still in high school, but the child decides not to go?
I mean, I guess it's a situation if the child's over 18, if the child's still dependent upon mom, you're still going to be paying at 18. But if they, get to the point where they're 19, 20, 21, 22, and they're working and they're not dependent, then you can go to the court and terminate the child support. But 18 years old, you're still paying if they're dependent upon mom and living in mom's household.
Because you're paying until they're 19.
Yes.
Okay.
If they're still dependent and do not have a full-time job.
Okay, so what if they're 17 with a full-time job?
You got to pay until 18. After 18, so it goes up until 18, 18 to 19 if they're dependent, 19 to 23 if they're in college.
Okay. All right. Hope that answers your question, baby. Good Rising, Caller, you live.
Hello?
Yes, it's you, baby. Good Rising.
My question is, I have a problem here that I am paying child support since from the child's birth. When the lady tells me the child was mine, I went and I signed the birth paper. But when I went back to the court, she refused to give me a paternity test. I've been fighting the courts for almost 18 years to get a paternity test, and I'm being refused because they keep telling me I signed the birth paper, that disqualifies me.
I'm Unfortunately, well, it depends upon your paperwork. I can always take a look at your paperwork, but primarily, if you were on the birth certificate and did not try to start your fight until the child was 7 or 8, meaning you were consistent in the child's life and you started paying child support and you waited kind of long, the way the court looks at like, I'm sorry, you should have filed for paternity or actually objected to the child support when the child was younger. That you
But I didn't know. Hold on, time out. This woman got mad and said, that's why the baby ain't yours. And so now I never questioned whether or not that baby was mine until she popped off and told me the baby wasn't mine. So yeah, now I want to establish paternity.
Unfortunately, if you wait till the child is too old, it's too late. The court's like, okay, you've established and been in this child's life this whole time, and this woman's become dependent upon you. You had every opportunity. Who's going to know better than not that you are not the father? If you know that this woman's sleeping with several different guys or there's problems going on, you need to get a DNA test. You wait too long, it's too long to
Are
test.
you really asked out if you wait too long?
Yes. But waiting too long is like 8-9 years. We're not talking about the child was like a year old. You're talking about the child is, into elementary school at this point, and you continue to be on the birth certificate and contest it.
No, I requested this paternity from the day I signed the paternity. The child was over a year old. For 18 years now I've been fighting that.
It honestly would depend upon your paperwork. Sometimes different things are going to mean different things to you than they would to me if I look at the paperwork and find out what's going on and why that didn't happen.
Give your number one more time.
617-320-7383.
One more time.
617-320-7383.
We're going to know by heart in a minute. Good rising caller, you're live. Good rising caller. It's you, baby. Okay, so I have more questions.
Absolutely.
Okay, so in my questions, I want to know, so the gentleman who's on the phone right now, we just finally discovered paternity. You are not the father. Can I get my money back?
Can you get your money back? Most likely not, unless you can prove she was fraudulent. Like, let's just say she honestly didn't know, and then you move forward and you've been getting, the child support this whole time. I did have a case where this woman actually lied, and they were able to prove she lied. Then you can sue her individually, but you got to prove that it was fraudulent, not a situation where she just didn't know, and you waited too long to fight the paternity.
So there's a case in, what is it, Chicago? The man who he wasn't the father, and they still locked him up and put him in jail for not paying child support. That one, you remember that case?
Yes, I remember it, vaguely online, but I think essentially is the way they characterize stories online. This is a situation where this man was given a child support order, either had it adjudged to him and did not appeal it, and then it was a contempt situation because he didn't pay, and then on a contempt situation, you can be incarcerated for failure to pay. So several different legal things had to happen for him to get to this place, and although it may not seem fair, I think it's a situation where he should have appealed and had a paternity test in the beginning when he initially was adjudged to pay child support. So he waited on it. He basically ignored that paperwork, refused to pay, and then a contempt came in the mail, and then that judgment came. So you're talking about 2 different judgments came against this man until he got to that place.
Because I'm ignoring it. They ain't my child, they ain't my baby, but I still have to go before the court.
Yes, you need to protect yourself. You need to advocate your rights. If she's able to serve you by a constable, you can't just not show up to court. And if she's able to serve by publication or something else, then you can appeal that judgment if you find out after.
Lord have mercy. So this is really Massachusetts. The woman gets everything. I have to sit here and she's innocent this whole time, but I'm guilty until proven innocent.
I mean, in terms of, here's the thing, if a judge is looking at, erring on the side of caution, they're going to err on supporting a child over, trying to put the mother.
Social Security Part 4D. They're going to err upon getting 60% of my dollar. That's what they're erring upon.
Listen, if you can get, a child support order does not all have to go through DOR if you negotiate with mom. So the money goes directly to mom individually if you want to, if you can negotiate that.
Unless she's on services.
Unless she's on services.
And a good portion of these bras are on services.
But what you can do is negotiate with mom and say, hey, you're getting $90 a week, so I'll pay $90 a week, but we'll negotiate that the rest of it can go out of court. I mean, there's different ways you can swing things and different ways you can get creative. But the truth is, you can say, look, I will give you more money than services will, so drop your services.
Okay, so how about this? How about my baby mama is crazy. Like, she's really crazy. She drives past my house. We ain't been together in like 4 years, but she still drives past my house. She done slashed my tires, broke my window.
She was fine at one point, but no more?
Yeah, exactly. You're so bad. I love you though. And I I can't get through to her. I'm currently on child support. She doesn't have services, or she does have services, and I want to cut this child support off. And I want to sit down. I want to have an adult conversation, and I want to pay out of pocket. I don't want to be in, you know, the white man wasn't there when I slept with her. Why is he there when I got to take care of my baby? Like,
I guess the thing is that no one wants to pay child support. That's the honest truth. No one wants to, and if they didn't enforce it, no one would. And no one would be able to get it. So I think the idea is, I understand that the numbers may not seem always fair, but at the end of the day, if a woman's raising a child on her own, she needs financial support. Now, I understand people saying, well, I think she's using it for her bags, her clothes, her hair. I'm like, look, if she's putting a roof over this child's head, that counts. You cannot micromanage how a woman is spending money if you have a roof over the child's head, food in that child's stomach, and clothes on their back.
my baby's hair ain't done. My baby ain't going to the dentist like she should.
That's a custody problem, not a child support problem. A lot of times guys like to blur the images and like, look, we can talk about custody and getting you more involved, but that has nothing to do with child support. They're two separate issues.
Lot of mercy. But this is going to be a part 2, 3, 4, 17. Like, how about 19? Part 19 until the baby is sufficient and on their own. Lord have mercy. We have some callers on the line. We'll come to the top of the hour, so make your questions quick so we can get through all of these calls. Good Rising Caller, you live.
Yes, good morning, ladies. How y'all doing?
Super fantastic. Talk to me, baby.
Yeah, all right, so I had a quick question, please. All right, so my younger brother, I want to say maybe about 3 years back, he had got into a little situation with the police, you know, and pretty much took it to court. He got assaulted by the police, took it to court, beat the case, you know, and now, I mean, it's been 2, 3 years later, you know, he's trying to figure out if he can pursue, you know, a lawsuit against the district, you know, by the chance.
I mean, are you talking about like a police misconduct case? That really wouldn't be a family law issue. Are you asking about? You're not asking a family law question? I take it then.
Right. Well, he got assaulted. You know, he ended up passing out, got knocked over the head by a whip baton, passed out, woke up, and seeing his friend, you know, visually getting beat down. They took it to court, fought it, beat it, and now, you know, 2, 3 years later, you know, I guess for some apparent reason, he didn't pursue the lawsuit right after the case.
So this is what we'll do. Fenari will give her number. You can contact her directly, because today we're solely talking about child support, equal parental rights, and our father's rights. So I don't want to get sidetracked, and I do want your question answered. So how do you get in contact with you?
My number is 617-320-7383.
One more time.
617-320-7383.
We have another caller on the line. Good Rising Caller, you're live. Caller, it's you, baby. Good Rising. Next caller, Good Rising Caller, you're live.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, baby. Speak up for me.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can hear you perfectly fine. Good Rising.
Good morning. I was just calling about the other call about the paternity test. What if he was to go get a paternity test on his own? Like, I know you can buy them at the store now or go pay for it at a doctor's office. Does that count?
As the mother, you can freely agree to come to a court agreement. If he wants to get his own paternity test, the only reason he would need a paternity test from the state is if you're contesting and saying he's not the father because he wants to be in the child's life and you don't want him to be. So it depends. If you don't want him in the child's life, then you can always move forward and say he's not the father. And, you know, if he files a complaint for custody, but if you guys both agree, it doesn't, you know, he's the father, he gets that test done, you guys can file a joint petition and make an arrangement if you want to, or not use the court system. But they only need a paternity test if you feel like you're in a situation where I don't know that he's the father, or I don't want him involved, and I don't think he's the father.
Or unless DOR is involved, and that's an automatic. They have to.
DOR is going to take care of them themselves. It's not going to be a choice. They're going to make you do a DNA test, and before they'll actually force you to pay child support.
Okay.
So that's DOR. That's automatic.
Okay. Thank you, baby. Good Rising Caller, you're live. Hi, yes, it's you, baby.
Oh yes, hi. My question is on special needs. I have a daughter who is going to be 18 in a month, and I already got a letter from DOR that states that I think that I guess from the beginning they know my daughter with special needs, and so they already sent a letter saying that the father would have to pay until she's 22.
Oh wow!
All right. So now I'm also in the process of doing guardianship. Okay. And now the dad wants to be a part of that, and which I have no problem with it, but I know how he is. I still want him to pay child support. I don't know if you can answer that question.
Well, I think the thing is that if you're going to file a joint petition for guardianship, if you technically at that point, it's almost like you're sharing custody. It could affect your child support number. So depending upon what he makes and you make, what they might do is what's called cross guidelines. Like they look at both of your incomes and they can potentially lower it if you're sharing in custody, unless you're going to do a situation where you are the primary custody holder of the guardianship petition and he co-joins with you. I guess it's all a matter in terms of how you agree to it. So if you want to continue to pay the full child support, then I would not agree to be a co-guardian with
Don't tell her that. Don't tell her that. Today's about fathers. No. Please give her all the information that she needs.
No, absolutely. It's about making a choice and discussing it with him. If you feel like there's a position where I need X taken care of, then you guys can negotiate that. You could only say, I need these medicines taken care of, these appointments, and this is the number I financially need each month. And if you pay that, we can change the order and then we can file for guardianship together.
So, okay, a question regarding her question. So, in a sense, a woman can say that she doesn't want to, again, I'm a man.
Yes.
So a woman can tell me that she doesn't want me to have custody so she can get full child support. And if I fight for custody and she says, nah, I don't want my child to have legal nor physical, what is it legal and...
Well, before it used to be who would have physical custody and legal custody. In Massachusetts, they have changed the law in a situation where there's not a physical custody holder anymore. I don't know if you guys noticed when you look at the court forms now, they don't even say physical custody. They say they'll say custody and a parenting plan. So they no longer say it's visitation. So what happens is they'll pick a parent for primary location because schools require one parent to be the primary, and then there'll be a parenting plan itself. But no one gets physical custody anymore in that type in the way they used to. That's because there's a movement away from just having the mother be the physical custody holder and dad having visits. So
Okay.
the laws have adapted a little bit.
All right, so it's just legal custody.
Correct. It's legal custody, but to answer your question, if you are a mom and dad's not physically present, that's going to determine what's happening. But if he shows he's physically present half of the week, then he deserves to be the joint, physical holder in terms of
What's half the week? What if he just pop up Friday after school
No.
and then he's gone on Sunday?
No. You have to.
What if he has weekends?
There's 167 hours in the week. How many hours is he spending? Is he spending half of those hours? Is he spending almost 80 hours a week with this child? If he's not,
Friday afternoon, Saturday, Sunday.
I think the thing is it every single weekend of the month?
Yes.
You could potentially, so now there's standard child support if you're only around every other weekend. Then there is, less than 50, but more than a third. And then there's 50%. So you really have to show I'm either a 50% dad, I'm above a
You're
30%
30% dad. I'm using that. You 30% dad.
But
Okay,
yes,
I'm
you can
sorry.
actually lower your child support. The guidelines were changed in 2013 to lower your child support if you are more actively involved in your child's life other than every other weekend.
So we have come all the way to the top of the hour. If you have any more questions, we're going to stay with YouTube for a little while, but we got to go. Big City 101.3 FM, Waking Up with Tayla Andre, Monday through Friday. Please, Attorney Fenari, please give the listeners your number one more time. How do they reach you? How do they contact you? What is the group? And how can I get some of these fees? For those that are just now tuning in, Attorney Fenari does have not payment plans, but
we have payment plans as well.
Really?
We have payment plans and we work with reduced fee clientele. So what we'll do is we'll take a look at your financial situation and we'll take in consideration what your gross income is and what your bills are in terms of determining what the fee would be for my office. So depending upon what you make and what you're doing and what's happening, we do have reduced fee, fees for ourselves. We also do limit what's called LAR. I'm allowed to come in for just a one court day and step away. If you just want me there for the day or you just want me there to make an agreement, I can do pieces of, kind of like, an assembly line. I do pieces of the cases, I do the whole cases, and we do payment plans.
And how do I contact you? What website?
Well, right now we are working on updating our website, but it is www.baystatelawgroup.com. My number is 617-320-7383, or you can email me at attorneyfenari@gmail.com. That's attorneyfurnari@gmail.com, and the first letter is F as in Frank, not S as in Sam.
F as in Frank, Fenari. Spell it Fenari.
Furnari.
I love and appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming this rising. I want to thank Danny Olsina for introducing us. This is a conversation that will never get old. And this is a conversation, let me ask you, are you more for mother's rights or father's rights?
I actually represent a lot more dads than I do mothers, but that's just because I think it helps you to understand the different problems and what's going on. And so some firms, they only represent just women and just men, and it's not helpful because there's going to be tricks and trades on both sides. You know, women fight with
there's not enough men judges in these family law courts.
Oh, I know a few of them. There are some guys that does not matter. They go for the men even when it's not fair. And I know some judges that go for the woman even when it's not fair. Now, you can't choose your judges as much as people want me to switch judges.
I know, that's right. Can we just pause? When is he going to get sick? I want another judge.
But yes, there are completely guy judges and completely women judges. And then there's judges that just are very in the middle. So you just have to understand what your judge is and present the information properly.
All right. I do have one last question.
Yes.
I pay about $15,000 a year in child support. I make only about $39,000. I cannot claim this on my taxes. How do we change the law so that this extra $15,000 that's coming into her household can reflect on her taxes and also reflect on mine?
The only way that would happen if you were actually going to pay more child support, because if the child support guidelines are saying this woman needs like $100 a week, if you tax her, now she's only getting $75 a week. The idea is now the government would have to take from her, and that who do you think they're going to take from, her or you? They would only heighten the guidelines in that type of situation because now you're taking less from the money that she needs. So the reason why it's not tax deductible is to help mom to get every dollar from you versus the IRS getting more.
Thank you so much for breaking that down. Attorney Fenari, I love you. I appreciate you. I hope you guys all have an amazing day, weekend. Remember, I am not in the building tomorrow, but Freaky Friday will be here. I'm going to go ahead and play one of your favorite Freaky Fridays, even though I will be in Atlanta, hopefully in some warmth and some sunshine. I love you. I appreciate you. We have a great lineup for you next week. Big City 101.3 FM, Waking Up with Tayla Andre, Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. to 7. Please head over to every and any social media site. That's TaylaAndre. Mwah. I hope you guys are having an amazing day. The champ is here. Hello, good rising.
Tayla?
Yes?
Good morning.
How are you?
I know I'm not on the radio no more. Could you ask you one question for me real quick?
Yes.
Is there a timeline for someone to put a guy on child support? You know, because they can't get off the child support even if it's not their kid after a certain time. So is there a timeline to putting the guy on child support?
Prior to the child turning 18.
Prior to the child turning 18. So at any point, as that baby is under the age of 18, they can put him on child support at any time.
And file for arrears backwards.
And file for arrears back. That's crazy. You have to prove that you've been paying this whole time?
Yep.
So if I've been giving her money and I don't have any proof because I've been giving her cash, it's like it never existed.
Correct.
Okay. I have 5 kids, right? And I've never had to pay child support because I take care of my kids 100%. But that seems unfair to those other guys, kinda, I think. I'm not sure.
That's not kinda, that's unfair. But I love you, baby. We gotta get up out of here.
All right, love you too.
All right. So I still have more questions. We're still on YouTube. So hey YouTube, y'all see this? Woo! Reggie B was talking about my stomach earlier. This is Attorney Fenari. So this is the after hour show, I guess. So as far as child support, I have to. I have to go to court and fight on my behalf. I'm still a man now. I have to go to court and fight.
Advocate for yourself, yes.
But shouldn't be automatic?
Automatic that what?
Because DOR is fighting on her behalf, but there's nobody fighting for me.
I mean, the only time DOR fights on her behalf is if she signs up for welfare or other services. And so she's saying he's not doing anything.
Who isn't on food stamps today?
I don't know. There's a lot of people that you have to qualify for food stamps, though. I think, well, they're going to look after people who are actually receiving welfare, not automatically food stamps. They can, but the people who are receiving like cash assistance.
Okay.
So you're talking about someone who's saying, "Dad is gone and I have no help. Can you please give me cash assistance?"
So what if she's lying? So she went to the welfare office. She lied. They gave her cash. And you're like, I've been here the whole time. Like, I see my kids all the time, every
So
weekend.
what happens is they'll go after the mother for welfare fraud, and usually the men chicken out and back down because they will go after mom for welfare fraud if the father shows, actually, I've been giving her money this whole time, and he can show that, they will go after the mother for that. But that's criminal charges. So there's situations where at that point, all of a sudden mom's willing to give it all the visitation she wants in the world.
And so he doesn't have to fight anymore.
Yeah. They go after women for welfare fraud. The problem is the women want to do two, they want to dip in both places. They want child support and they want that cash assistance. But unfortunately, so I had a woman who very money hungry, but she was receiving, a stipend for a daycare, welfare cash, and food stamps. And she realized, I'm like, yeah, you can get child support for my guy, but you're going to lose all that. And on the guidelines, he was never going to pay enough to cover all those things. So sometimes it's a situation where, if the guy's truly not working and can advocate for himself, he's not properly working and not due to his own, on purpose. There'll be a situation where the guy pays at least the minimum, which is $20 a week. And then
that's the minimum?
Yep. Even when you're not working.
So how does child support work as far as the numbers are concerned? So he makes $17 an hour. Like, how does that work financially?
Financially, what they do is they take your gross weekly income, they'll deduct any health care, child care, or a dentist, or other child support obligations. They put the same thing in for her, and it's just a calculator, and it pops up and it has a percentage, and it just pops up a number.
But this calculator isn't always fair because, again, it's going off my gross. I live in Massachusetts, so rent is high as hell. And how am I supposed to support myself?
I do a lot of divorce, and you would be surprised. I have a lot of gentlemen who are making about $50,000 a year. And then when they have to pay child support, they're in a situation where they can't even afford to rent and to live on their own, and they're making $50,000 a year. So I do think it's unfair to take from the gross amount. It'd be more accurate from the net amount, but it depends on I think it's unfair when the woman makes more. Like, I had a case where this woman made like $80,000, guy was making $50,000, and he was giving half his paycheck. But because of the guidelines, it just came out that he was going to give that much money.
Where common sense has to come into play, and that's legislation that needs to be altered, right?
The legislation has been altered to, for instance, so this is what I tell a lot of guys. They complain about child support, and I say, are you present in the kid's life? I had a guy say, oh, why is it so high? But he never wanted to show up a day in the kid's life. I said, well, if you want to lower it, then start being around. So you can lower your child support if you're present. So there's different
anybody, any dad, every dad. So if I'm present, but I'm only present when she wants me to be present. I'm only present when she allows me to be present. I could be present every day. I could pick my baby up from school. I would love to pick my baby up from school. I would love to, pick her up throughout the week and spend dinner with her.
You have to file for more visitation. You can say, you go into the court and you say, I want more visits. I want a bigger court order. If you don't ask to, if you don't fight for your visits, you can't just say, well, she doesn't let me. You go into a court and get an order to do so. She got an order to get you to pay, so why are you reluctant to get an order to make her let you see the child?
So let's say I'm already on child support. Do I have to pay the filing fee to ask for visitations, and then what?
And then you can also, so you would just file a complete modification. So you can modify and take your child support order into a custody matter instead of DOR.
Okay.
So what you do is you file a modification saying, I want to lower my child support because I'm increasingly present. I want to be.
Talk to YouTube. I'm just going to open the door.
So there's certain issues where you file the modification, say, I want more visitation and I want to lower my child support because I'm more present or I'm doing certain things for the children that I wasn't before. And therefore, it's, this court should determine I have the right to not pay as much child support.
So, all right. Well, we have at least some of the guidelines, and for everything else, we can have you back.
Yeah.
We can talk about small claims. We can talk about what other areas.
So I do, one big area I do is we do a lot of eviction. Landlord tenant, represent landlords and represent tenants if they're going through issues like that.
Okay. So housing.
housing. We do housing. We do not just child support, but also, we do divorces as well. Prenups, if thinking about getting married, and then also different. So there's a whole bunch of different variety. And we do wills. I think a lot of people, if you have children, then it needs to say like, if you really don't like the family of the father of your child, you need to put paperwork in there to say who you want the guardian to be. So if you were to pass away, you need to have your
Could you use your will? So let's say, for instance, my baby mama got it in her will that she doesn't want my family or myself to have custody of the child. It's solely hers. Then do I have to fight her family?
No, well, it'd be a situation where you get first dibs. But if there's a situation where the both of you are gone, then it's about, well, do you like your mother-in-law or do you like the mother of your, then it goes into a situation where, if you're the one fully taking care of the child, you give a preference of who you would like to have happen so that when DCF gets involved with, if like everyone's gone, or let's just say both.
But I get first dibs of my child, regardless of if the will, even if the will says,
correct,
my child gets sent to Jamaica.
No, the father gets first dibs unless the Department of Children and Families determines he's inappropriate.
Really?
When you die, that's why I tell a lot of times. This is why I tell a lot of women saying, okay, you want to keep child support, but you're like people, for instance, women that get remarried. Guess what? Even though this husband is raising your child, that child will go to the father of his child. That's the deadbeat dad, unless you actually have the husband adopt the child.
But the father has to allow that adoption to take place. So there are some things put in place to protect me and to protect my right as a father.
Absolutely. So the Department of Children and Families would take over if a mother were to pass away. If you've never been to court before and you've never been married, the child's under the custody of the mother. So if she passes away, the department's going to immediately look for the father.
Okay.
If they can't find the father, then they're going to look for a foster home or appropriate, family people that might be appropriate.
One more time. How do I find you?
Well, Bay State Law Group. I'm Cheryl Finari. You can find me at 617-320-7383. Or you can also send me an email at attorneyfinari@gmail.com. That's ATTORNEYFURNARI.
I thank you. I love you. And I appreciate you. Hope you guys have an awesome day today.